Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. I'm your host, Keith Willard. Welcome back. Today, we've got a couple of incredible local vendors that are going to be talking about how they've survived this world of COVID and how they've pivoted slightly if they've had to, and some of the things that they're looking forward to now that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, while not being so quick about it, because we still have to be cautious. We still have to be wary. So we're going to get a first-person perspective. So thank you, everybody, for joining in. But first, let's introduce our Behind the Veil crew. Marcy Gutenberg with An Affair to Remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hello.
It's nice to see you.
Great to see you.
Awesome. And then, of course, the always gorgeous Brooke Logan Stoner.
I am the light at the end of your tunnel. Welcome. Hi, Marcy.
Yes,
Hi, Brooke.
Yes. So we've got two great vendors. Obviously, Tara Horner is the senior salesperson at the Boca Lago Country Club. So welcome, Tara. It's nice to have you on the show.
Hi, everybody.
And then,
Hi, Tara.
Hi, Brooke.
And then, of course, we have Robin, who is the owner of Sand and Sea Studios, a fantastic photographer here in South Florida that is just now starting to ramp up her business. And I can tell you from a firsthand experience, she's awesome. Hi, Robin.
Hi, everyone. How are
Hi,
you?
Robin.
Hi.
I know.
Thanks for
I
having
can
me.
tell you. Well, I can tell you right now, Brooke is looking over at Robin and going, "Okay, what's going on over here?"
No,
Like,
I looked at Brooke.
I'm
I was
looking
like,
at my
"Oh, she
wonky
looks
lab,
good."
so
well, so guys, this is the thing: is that here we are. We're finally. The phone is starting to ring. The events are starting to happen. We're starting to move ahead. But of course, obviously, there's some lessons learned from our experience over the last 8 months, and also about how we have to be still a little cautious before, obviously we get to that point that we can still do events without masks, without any of those things. I'm going to turn to Tara first. So Tara, I mean, you're just started with Boca Lago, and in a new position. I'm assuming that they added that position because it was an opportunity, obviously, to increase their sales. What has your experience been? Because I know that you went from one place to this place, so your personal story is very different than I think most.
So I was at the Boca Country Club in Boca Raton, Florida, which was part of the Boca Resort. And back in April, I was furloughed. So I was kind of just sitting around for about 8 to 9 months, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and also trying to figure out if I was going to go back because of COVID. They really decided that it was not something that they were going to continue with. They were just doing golf because that's where everybody was going, and they just felt that that was enough for them. So I started looking for a new job, and I found one at Boca Lago Country Club. And they are doing events here. We do have a capacity of 400 people in our ballroom. However, due to COVID restrictions, we can only do about 150 right now. So we're kind of capping it at that. Unfortunately, most of the weddings that are here and events that have been booked are really weddings that have been pre-planned from 2020. So a lot of those weddings as well, or events, are really like 60, 40. They're really low numbers based on what the brides and the grooms and what the events were scheduled for, because people are still afraid to fly and they're not really sure if their guests are going to come. But with that being said, we're moving slowly back into the direction of getting events coming back. I think, with COVID, COVID coming, being here, we're still kind of cautious. I mean, we do have to follow CDC guidelines. We have to wear a mask, and, we have bathroom attendants to make sure everything is clean and sparkly. And, so, I mean, it's been a challenge, but I mean, I think after July, I think we're going to see an influx of new things coming. So hopefully, we'll move forward. So,
well, but come on, come on. You gotta admit that the brides that are doing their weddings are so freaking excited. They're just like, "Oh my God, thank you, God! I finally get to do my wedding."
Exactly.
right? And if there's only 60 people there, then screw the rest, right?
Right.
I
But,
I
you know,
still get my sunshiny day.
Honestly, I
do.
kind of like the intimate weddings that I've been doing lately. It's way less stressful. It's
Right?
a lot of fun. It's not stressful for the bride and groom. And a lot of times it's all of the special people to them that end up showing up. I mean, weddings can be huge, but at the end of the day, a smaller wedding is always a lot nicer and more intimate. I kind of love it.
It is. I agree
Yeah.
with you, and you get to spend more time with your guests, and
Right,
it's hard.
right.
You're hard as a bride or a groom to visit every single table when you have
Yeah.
100 to 200 people. It's hard to get everybody.
sure.
So the intimate part of it is really
Agreed.
a great thing.
And budget wise is great too.
It
For
is.
people, you can go bigger.
It
You can
is.
go bigger in other areas and go for the meals and the decor you wanted because less
Mhm.
people.
Or the extra hours of photography.
Yeah, or more photography.
I'm
But
just
no-
saying for the
yeah.
people that are on.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay,
Pump it up.
right? Pump it up. I lost Brooks in there. Sorry about that, Brooke. Let me pull you back in. I don't know what I did there. Well, okay. So what is the thing that you find that people are like, now that we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, are you starting to see a little bit more hope happening with your guests, Tara? Are you seeing that little light?
We are. There are. I mean, people are excited. I mean, but there are also people that are just, they really want the 100-person, the 150, the 200. They want all of those people to come. So we're also finding that they're waiting a little bit longer.
Right.
They're going to wait till 2022. You got some that will still move forward with events, but unfortunately, we just don't have an idea of when this is ever going to be lifted at this point. We're also finding people are interested in doing buffets still too, and we really can't do a buffet setup at this point in time. No, I know, but
okay, sorry.
2022, they're looking
did I
at
just
it.
show crazy face? I think I just showed
Yes.
crazy face because I'm like, what? No, I'm sorry. Double
Yeah.
dipping Eddie comes along.
No.
Exactly.
I don't even like him at a normal buffet, and much less now.
Right,
Gross.
exactly.
Anyway, so but what about stations? Okay, stations. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, why not?
Yep.
That I feel like buffet is a bad word now. Stations.
No, stations, you are correct. So maybe I was bad in saying a buffet. Stations.
Well, because I don't know if anybody
New
remembers
word.
movies or oh my god, or
I used to manage that place. I hate that.
Oh, did you really?
Don't
Oh,
give
it's
them
Sizzler.
any. Don't give them
I
any
did.
talking air on the show, darling.
I'm just saying, a sizzler. Whoa,
And I just want to
Kind of
actually
wrote that.
point out, serve stations means serving stations. That just clarifying it for somebody that's not in the industry. Serving
Right.
stations is something that there's a server behind the station serving you and your guests.
Right. Or a chef attendant. Exactly. Yeah.
right. But so, and I'm sticking with you, Tara, for a little bit because I wanted to find out because one of the things that just experienced is that the Conrad is having to put a line down in the sand, so to speak. So all the weddings that moved from 2020 to 2021. They were very gracious, very, very gracious. They reduced the amount of people. They reduced the contract size, like as far as the dollars are considered. They reduced the room blocks so that the couple wasn't financially responsible for any of the extra stuff until January 1st, 2022. Then it's suck it up. You've got your original contract. Done.
Right.
And if you move it, it's a cancellation. Done.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
and you have to start all
Oh,
over
you're
again.
so bossy. I love this. Where were you at in 2019, honey?
But that's the thing is that it has to happen at some point. It has to happen. I mean, we do, even as vendors, we
Yeah.
all have to have a line in the sand. And so, Tara, I wanted to ask you about, are you guys having to deal with that line in the sand? And then I was going to go to Robin and ask her that same question.
We are having to deal with that. I mean, we can only move things so much, and we can only hold, deposits for a certain amount of time. I mean, we are a business, and we still have to, move forward. So, I'm assuming at this point, because I can't make an assumption yet for what's going to happen, but the ones that are
Right.
booking now for 2021 at the end of the year and 2022, we're not going to do that.
Right.
Businesses are just not going to do it anymore because now there's COVID restrictions. in contracts, there's all sorts of stuff that's been added, just like, we had talked about before, there are moving fees and, changing of the date fees and all those things, because unfortunately you could have booked something else on that specific day and now you've lost it. So unfortunately, the company can't take the hit.
And we know how to do events safely now. I mean, it's not like we're walking in the dark and we're trying to figure it out.
Right.
We know the solution. We know how to do this. Robin, what about you? I mean, you're a small company. You're fairly new to the South Florida market. You're just getting rediscovered. So obviously, and by the way, if you haven't checked out Robin's work, check it out because she's freaking amazing and you're going to want her for your wedding. But what are some of the things that when's that line in the sand for you? And has it also made a difference in your contracts?
Well, I'm going to knock on wood as I say this, but I haven't had to cancel any contracts yet. So I've been very fortunate this year. I know a lot of people who weren't so fortunate. Lucky for me, I was just kind of dipping my toes into the Florida wedding industry when this all started. So when it did get started, sorry, I just lost you here. When it did get started, I hadn't really had any weddings booked yet for this year. I had a few and they just moved to 2021, but I was lucky enough to not have any cancel. So all my weddings this year, they haven't canceled either. I mean, I've already done 4 weddings this month and I'm on to my 5th double wedding this weekend. So I'm very fortunate and I almost feel guilty saying that.
Oh,
Robin it again, Robin.
Even when people cancel though, or move their wedding, I feel like even if they downsize or luckily their photographer's one of the things that they keep. So a lot of times they're like, even like I had a couple that reached out and said, well, we might just cancel the wedding, but go to Hawaii and elope. Will you come with us? You used to live there. And I'm like, let's go. I'll show you all the spots. You go to a waterfall, so I feel like people kind of hold on to their photographer. So I feel lucky in that sense. So again, I'm actually knocking on wood because I don't want to jinx myself. And I still feel for everyone who wasn't so fortunate last year.
Do you think that's because maybe were they more intimate weddings or were they this larger weddings?
Yeah. So the weddings that I kept last year that I did in 2020, they were late 2020. One was in October, one was in December, and they were very small and intimate. One had 17 and one had, I think, 30 outdoor weddings. But, it was very downsized, but still it was nice. No one got sick. Like it was, they took all the precautions. They had cute little custom masks made and just, so I think that they dealt with it very well. This year, however, some of the weddings I've been doing, they're still downsized, I would say, like 60, 70 people, but outside as well. So, I mean, I think they've been all right. People are taking the necessary precautions and everyone has all these cute masks now. I'm like, I need to order some of those for my wedding.
By the way, I have
Speaking of cute masks.
I was about to say, I have a for you. I have one I can get them with your logo on them for like $1.50 a piece. It's
really?
Yeah, I'll send you that link.
Oh wow! So I can't sell them for $20 a piece. Perfect.
It's totally cool. Oh, look at her. It's like I was going to try to make some money off of that.
No,
I'll never get these lashes right.
He's allowed to help me.
Well, and what about, Tara? You've got this gorgeous ballroom, but of course they talk about being indoors is one of those things that's still kind of on that. Because I've moved a lot of my weddings outdoors into outdoor locations. At your location, you have this gorgeous chandelier that sits directly in the middle. I would hate to lose that. But if you did have to move it outside, are there options?
We do. We have a covered area that's outside of the ballroom that several people have chosen to utilize because they're still afraid of being inside. For us here, after every event, we have a company that comes in and actually sanitizes everything. So we haven't really had any issues. But the weddings are still doing them inside. It's the smaller ones that are still afraid that will go out on the patio. Right now we have an event out there and there's 100 120 people out there on 4 tops. So for 4 tops, I can do a bit of seating out there. So it works well.
You've reduced the number of people at the table, and you're socially distant because it's outside. It's a gorgeous day. Hello, we're in Florida.
Yes.
You know, screw the rest of the world because this is our time.
Exactly.
I live
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not? Obviously, this is the time to be in South Florida and to be doing it, knowing that all that we know now. I mean, we just know so much more, and the fact that the vaccines are starting to happen is a big deal. And it's almost becoming like a badge of honor, because I can't even tell you how many times I've gotten a phone call and somebody's like, I got my vaccine today. Oh, yeah, suck it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
I'm
like,
like, hey, Keith, I need toilet paper.
Right.
He came
my
and brought it
God.
to me yesterday. A big pack. It was huge. I was like, family style. He's like, I don't have to come visit this bitch anymore. Perfect.
oh,
Oh, my
true. It
goodness.
is so totally true. Well, okay, Robin, you're a bride, right? And so, by the way, congratulations. It's coming up on the 27th. I won't give out the location. No party crashers. I can just tell you that it's down south and on an island. Well, it is.
It is.
Look, Brooke's face just all lightened up because, by the way, she just actually hired us to help her with her wedding that day. So we're yay.
We worked a wedding together, and I knew I had to have you. He was fixing the dress while I was taking the photos for like, hold on, I have to smooth out the dress. I'm like, he's my guy. He's
basically alone.
I said, can I hire you as my assistant for all of my weddings that I shoot? I need you here to fix the veil and the dress and hold the veil and drop it.
Just know that this is the package deal, young lady. I will be in the building.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you too. You're
but I have to be nice to you because, you know,
yeah.
Sure.
But,
hey, you were nice to us before too. You were awesome, Brooke.
Right.
Oh,
but I mean, here's the thing is like how do you differentiate between being a bride and being a photographer for brides? Because, you know, I know that when I talk to brides, I'm trying to say, look, you know, it's still a beautiful wedding, whether or not people are having to wear masks or not. And it's still going to be amazing, even though people have to drop off because they're worried about their own safety. But now that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and people are starting to say, look, we're coming out the end of it. I'm starting to get a bigger and bigger reaction to people not coming. Like they're saying, why aren't they coming? It's a lot safer now.
Right.
How is that for you as a photographer and now as a bride?
Well, I'll say this. As a photographer, planning a wedding is very hard because I just want everything to be picture perfect. So it's not so much that I'm like this extra bride. I just am thinking all about my photos. So while the masks don't bother me, I don't mind having people wearing masks at my wedding. There is a little thought rooted in the back of my head, like, oh, all my pictures people are gonna be having masks on the dance floor. But it's not enough to stop me. I'm going for it. But I don't know. I definitely feel for the brides now because there's a lot that goes into wedding photography, or like into planning a wedding, I should say. That I didn't necessarily realize. So I give you all credit, everyone in the wedding industry, because it's a lot. So I hired.
It's a lot. I know you're like, that's why I hired you. Well, and I feel like that's one of the benefits also about having a professional in your life. When this kind of stuff happens again, there's going to be somebody there that can give you some help.
Totally.
You know. And I feel like masks are here to stay. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Bother me. Like I said, I just need some nice, cute masks to lay out to match my theme because it's so detail oriented. But
I've got Louis Vuitton. I got Versace from the forums. Oh yes.
Like
I feel more
that I
censored
shot
with them on than anything. So
yeah, she likes her labels. She likes her labels. But how are you? Are you still preparing brides for the idea that masks are still going to be around and that there may be drop-offs? I mean, that's probably not typically, Robin, in your world of like having to prep a bride. It's my world, but to prep a bride. But do you find yourself doing that, and is it becoming less so?
To be honest, I don't feel like I've had much of that. All of my brides seem pretty accepting. Either they rescheduled last year and they've just accepted that they've downsized or whatnot, or that I think everyone by this point is just kind of like they just know it's here and it is what it is, and they just want to get married. Like they don't really come to me like, oh, we have to wear masks. I just show up to the wedding and they have all these cute little decorations and masks and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is adorable. Like they, and I take pictures of all those details too, because honestly, at the end of the day, those are all of the things that are making this wedding what it is. Like it's still, I'm here to capture the day, and it's 2020, 2021. And that is the world we're living in. One day they'll look back at the photos and be like, oh, remember our wedding when we got married 20 years ago and it was a global pandemic and we still got married? Like, it sucks now, but I think looking back, it's just going to be a part of this time that we're in right now,
Well, and I do tell people that all the time. I mean, how you see something now is going to be completely different than what you see in 10 years.
I think everyone's just accepted it, honestly. Everyone's just...
Hey, listen, as long as you get the DJ to scream coronavirus at least one time. I mean, there you go.
Put it on the list. Keep
you see it
for my wedding.
Or Corona.
Clearly, you're much older than I am, sir.
They can come around with Corona beers on a tray at the same time.
Exactly. As a way to celebrate.
Yeah,
well, Tara, actually, that's not a bad thought. I mean, have you had people that have leaned into this and like done stuff like that? Like, I love that idea. Corona beers on
I mean, I personally have thought of that, but I don't know if anybody's done it because I'm still new here, so I don't really have some of that background with me yet. So
right.
It is something that you could certainly do because it's just a part of whatever that we're going through right now. And at this point, you have to make light of it and, move forward. And whether it's with 20 people, 50 or 100, they're still trying to make it a very special day. So, Robin is right. I mean, a lot of brides are doing the masks that match their theme, and they have all these other things that are showing people that they want them to be here, but they understand that it's something that we all have to go through at the same time.
So you're new to that location, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've been there. You did a beautiful tea for us the other day, and it was awesome. Gorgeous space.
I saw pictures.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, Brooke. Yeah, we saw pictures.
Brooke, you can come on the 17th with Keith.
I wasn't on the guest list.
There you go. Well, you can.
You can bring her with you.
There you go. I'll bring you with me on the 17th. Look how she just did that. Did you know that?
See, he only can see what it is like he could have brought me, but like he can only take me in doses, and that was a big dose that day.
Anyway, that's not true. If I'm going to handle you for a full day of a wedding, honey, I handle you any day of the week when I actually get to feed you drinks. So,
well, I'm less mouthy and I'm more conforming on those days because I get paid.
Well,
but I got this fun straw.
I know, right? But what I wanted to ask you, Tara, is it's a new space. What are kind of your big selling points to brides? Because honestly, I wouldn't have known about Boca Lago, wouldn't have shown up on my radar if I was looking for wedding venues, because it's not on the big three, so to speak. It's not on the beach. It's not in the Keys, but it's still gorgeous. Tell us a little bit about your location.
Well, I mean, the location, you are correct. I mean, I was brought here to help bring it to light a little bit, to help bring some more people. And with everybody that I know within the industry, I'm trying to get them to come out here to see it so they know that we're here. I mean, the space is for 400 people, which is not a lot of private clubs will hold that number of guests. I mean, most places that do are hotels, but I mean, the ballroom is beautiful. It has that big crystal chandelier in the middle of it. You also have it's all windows. We sit on a golf course. Your wedding can be done in 3 different locations outside on the golf course. So, we have backup space available in case of inclement weather, but we do one event at a time. So, I mean, that's the big part of it. You don't have to compete where you got this event going on in the next room and then the other one, you're really the focus for the day.
So you only do one wedding at a time.
That's it. That's all we do. Wow. One at a time. That's the focus is really on your day. So it's a great,
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Great venue. You only get married once. You don't want to feel like you're sharing your venue with someone.
Right.
And sometimes you have to. I get it. Like if you really want a venue and that popular, but I don't know. What I'm realizing being a bride, I never thought, but I love I love the attention of being a bride because I'm like, this only happens once. I've always been like the really chill girl, like one of the guys, and now I'm like, I'm the bride. Not in a bridezilla way though, guys. I'm bridezilla, okay? I'm not.
Hey, listen, I've done it I'm about to do it for the third time, so you know what? I was bridezilla the second one.
No,
First one I didn't invite them to. So I mean, just practice
I
makes
don't
perfect.
think I'm bridezilla. I'm really good. I don't ask for much. I do it all myself. I just know exactly what I want it to look like, and I'm making it happen myself.
Right.
And now
you're a fragile little thing, and I'm quite big, so I'm not.
No,
scared.
but I'm just saying that's fabulous because if you're at Boca Lago, nobody wants to be a bride and look to your left and see another bride in a wedding dress. It's like diminishes it.
This is my day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It's actually in a very convenient location too, not far from the turnpike. There's hotels in the area for your guests to stay, and you do not have to. Am I right? It's not an equity club, so the guests do not have to be vetted by another member.
Exactly. Right. Just
anyone
can come here and book it.
And can golfing happen by anybody? Like I know so many of my groomsmen and grooms would love to be able to do a round of golf in the morning. Do you have to be a member of the club?
No, we can book that for you. We can do that as a thing. So we had a fabulous bridal suite here. So, I mean, that's a big seller too, because the bride can do hair, makeup, and do all of that stuff here instead of having it done at a hotel and having to finish everything here. So we can even do the grooms if we need to in the locker room. So it has some great things.
Very
wizard. Brush there.
You need to bring her on the 17th.
Oh my God, she'd have such a good So Robin, your photography, I've gone back through and I looked at your Instagram. It's fantastic. I just love kind of your take on it's very bright. It's very organic. I don't know if that makes sense. It's very in the in the moment. It's not like posed. It doesn't feel too
told that a lot. Yeah.
And is that kind of your vibe? That's and how did you get started in this? I mean, like what caused you? Because I know I can't take a photo off my iPhone, even with all the damn filters. I can't even imagine having to be like responsible for somebody's wedding. I mean, how did you even get started in this?
Well, it's a long story, so I'll just make it short. I got into it in high school. I was doing a lot of videography. And then out of high school, I ended up moving to Hawaii. And that's when I bought my first camera just for fun, to play around and take pictures of waves. I grew up, on the water, on boats, diving and stuff. So I just loved like ocean photography. Shortly after, I bought a water housing for my camera and I was playing with underwater stuff. And then a friend of mine said, hey, do you want to start taking portraits at the resorts here? I can hook you up with this job. So it was basically like a photo concierge, and they would book me for family photo sessions and engagement shoots at these resorts, like all the top resorts on Maui. So I got a lot of practice doing portraits and people, and all that kind of stuff. And then a friend of a friend knew a really great wedding photographer in Hawaii. He was like rated #1 for like 3 years in Hawaii. And he reached out one day and was like, hey, do you want to come second shoot with me? And I owe everything I know to that guy, because he taught me everything for a couple years. I shot with him. I edited for him. I did all kinds of stuff. He taught me everything he knew, weddings, and he was like top tier. So he set the bar really high. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands of photos I saw of his. So I know exactly what a gallery was supposed to look like. So when I came back to Florida, I said, all right, time to start my own. I had a job at Boca Resort for a while. And actually I ended up quitting last January, right before COVID hit. I quit all my side jobs and I said, all right, I'm going full-time photography. And I started booking a couple weddings, and COVID hit. And I was like, oh no, like what now?
And you're like totally really, God hates me this much.
But I mean,
we're going to start a new show for you called Let's Drown the Bride. And I'm going to like hold her down and you can like do all that underwater stuff. Girl, I got you. We got this.
No, that's something else I offer is like water shoots. It's called Trash the Dress sessions, and brides after the wedding get in the water with their dress on and do underwater sessions. Oh yeah, drone photography, all of it.
Like you
Oh
like
my
to see
God.
her getting ate by a shark, you know. Oh, that'd be kind of fun. That's fun with us. That's the kind of stuff I need to put on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sand and Sea Studios. Sand and Sea actually started with beach and water portraits because I was doing a lot of beach portraits, and I was like, well, what if I could be different and jump in the water with my water housing and do like water photos and drone photos and just make it really artistic and cool, like abstract stuff versus just a posed smile.
Hashtag
and
Jaws just ate my baby.
Yeah.
The veil just floats.
I mean, I love it because it just happened organically with you. It just like
Yeah,
it just
it did. My love for the water, and totally. Yeah. So then I kind of was like, all right, well, I did love shooting weddings, but I also love this. So I just kind of combined it all. And I said, well, let me just start a brand where I can kind of do it all, you know, so I can do lifestyle shoots. Sometimes I do product shoots. I do all kinds of stuff, but my primary focus now is weddings. So
how did you know you were good? Like, I know that's such a random question, right? Because
all my family that I don't talk to on Facebook would tell me when I was in Hawaii, we see your photos. We see your photos. That's how I knew it. And
well,
then,
because like
and then
all
my
of
mentor
us,
reached out. Yeah.
Oh, but your mentor, but all of us on here, there had to be a moment for all of us to say, you know what, I'm really damn good at what I do. You know, no offense, but I'm doing that. I don't know anybody else that's doing what I'm doing. When was that moment for you, like to say? And I'm totally putting you on the spot, but I'll follow up with
I know.
But like, when did you go, holy crap, I'm really good at this?
To be honest, I don't know that I've really had that moment. I think that every photographer is always going to struggle with that and comparing themselves to other people. I even find myself doing that still sometimes. Yeah. But there are times when I leave a wedding. There's been a couple of times where I've actually left, got in my car and like just cried because I'm like, I just feel so fulfilled and like good. And like it just went so good and it makes me so happy. And sometimes when I just have really, yeah.
I
was like, oh no, John's
I know, like, I'm crying. I hate my life. I did that so bad. They're
good
gonna
crying,
hate me.
good crying. And sometimes, like when I just have like a really bomb photo that I'm like, oh my God, like I just kind of feel, I don't know how else to describe it other than just fulfilled. Like sometimes my fiance, he looks at it, he's like, damn babe, like he's so impressed and like his reactions. And I'm like, I'm finally getting to where I've worked so hard to be. I think for a long time, I kind of struggled with my style because again, you compare yourself to all these people, but then I started just kind of going with my own style. And now I finally feel like I am where I was working towards. So I guess that moment would be like now.
I
recently.
love it.
Yeah.
And Tara, I mean, I know that you're so good at what you do. I mean, you brought real life to your last job. And you just have this way of being able to make everybody feel good. Again, there had to be a moment when you're like, you know what, I'm really good at this. I'm really, really good at this.
Well, I think that was probably many, many years ago. In the industry forever. I mean, I kind of fell into this position and, fell in love with it. So I love to see the smile on people's faces and to hear the thank yous and all of that stuff. I mean, I really don't compare myself to anybody. So Robin, I don't think you need to compare yourself to anybody either because everybody has their own style and own way.
Right.
Everybody is unique in what they do. And, Keith told me once, I've done a couple things with Keith, and Keith told me once that it doesn't matter what the budget is or what the style is. It's just that everybody deserves their own day. And, whether it is here, there,
that's a serve. Yes.
But it resonated. But it resonated with me because really that's what it's all about. It's all about what they're looking for. Listen, Keith, you and I've been in this industry enough to know that there's things that you shouldn't do. And unfortunately, brides and grooms just don't want to listen. And it's like, okay, whatever, it's your day. And you just you just go with it. So, everything that I do is based upon that. And, I just really enjoy what I do. Well,
and that's the thing is that I got to a point one time that I knew I just knew, and maybe it was, and I remember saying that to you because I do believe that. I really do believe that I don't care, regardless of somebody's budget or size of wedding, if they got to a point that they were able to hire me, then I'm going to make sure that they have the best day of their life because everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves their day. And, you know, and I used to get so frustrated. And I think that's part of the next question that I'm going to talk about is that I feel like a lot of people made deals with the devil, so to speak, over the last couple months in order to just have any money come in at all. They short sell those services and they're going to get to a point and they're going to complain about the fact that they're having to do this wedding and it's super cheap. And, you know, I'm assuming neither one of you have fallen into that, but my word of advice. See, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you did because there had to be some type of revenue. But I hope people remember to still be thankful for that later. Because
don't be greedy, pigs get slaughtered.
Don't be greedy, pigs get slaughtered. That's right. Robin says that all the time. I mean, Robin Brooks says that all the time. Robin's like, no, I don't.
Here we go.
Like, no, that's a new one, but I'll use it in the future.
The oven, apparently the oven's working.
Yeah, exactly. So Robin, did you, in order to survive and be able to get at least some money in, did you make some deals that you wouldn't have normally made?
I think
it's okay to say
there were a couple, I wouldn't say deals that I'll regret. A couple minor discounts, of course, because I do feel for people that are struggling right now. Like I had a bride that came to me because she had to change her date and her wedding photographer wouldn't give their deposit back, which, you know, I mean, to each their own. But for me, I just like, I understand some people are in a tough place to where maybe they couldn't give it back, but maybe like, I don't know, agree on something else. Anyways, the girl was really distraught. And I know that they lost a lot of money on that. So like in that case, like, I mean, I have a heart. I was like, I would never do that, you know, I could give her a discount, but for the most part, no. I think last year while I was making most of my bookings, my prices were pretty low anyways, just because, like I said, I was new to the Florida industry. So I was trying to get my name out anyhow. So for that first year, I told myself, well, I'm going to bite the bullet for this year and just get some weddings in my book here, get my name out there, and then I'll raise my prices to what I know I should be, you know, charging, what I would like to be charging. So I guess I wasn't really faced with that too much because last year I'm kind of dealing with that now. I'm like doing all these weddings for like prices that I kind of, you know.
Well, and that's the thing, it's adding to your book.
That's how it goes. Of course, that's just the way it goes. That's you know, but now
the way you put that, because you're like, you know, I did it as a favor to a bride so she could have her day.
Yeah, of course, because I feel for the people that are struggling through this, and people were losing jobs. I mean, it was a tough time for everyone. So I wasn't so stern on my prices. We're like, no, this is the price. Of course, I was willing to work with people, but also at the same time, I was taught very early on to stick true to what you're worth in this industry, because, you know, there's always someone cheaper that they can find if, you know, if they need to. So, I mean, otherwise, well, because it reflects like throughout the industry. You know, if I start lowering my prices to be competitive, well, now I'm kind of ruining all of the photography careers. Kind of like if we set that tone, then photography is not going to be worth that much anymore, and that's not what we want. We want to build up, you know, as an industry. But yeah, I definitely have heart though for COVID. I was lenient with my brides. I'll say that.
Well, and you know, and I think that's
healthy balance. Yeah.
Well, and that goes back to the full circle when we first started this conversation about the fact that hotels and other businesses are starting to have to put that line in the sand. And I've got a date in my head of, okay, anything after this date, I'm going back to full pricing, no discounts. I absolutely, I gotta live. Right.
Exactly. Because we're struggling too, you know, everyone is struggling, sadly. Right.
Yeah. But, you know, but it's also important that we go back to our pricing, because there is value in what we've have done. You know, I have a question actually for us for After the Veil, but that's for After the Veil. That won't be before, because I feel like that would be a really interesting conversation. Tara, what about you? What did you like? Same thing, deals made during COVID, and now, those events are starting to happen or coming up.
We have had to do a few of those things here. Excuse me. But I mean, moving forward, that's not happening anymore. We just can't. I mean, because we do have to, we're a business and we are here to make some money, and we have to move forward. But I mean, there have been deals given to some people to keep them here. But, you're right. You do have to draw a line in the sand. And after July of this year or June of this year, that's it. We're, moving forward with full pricing, and Robin's right. I mean, they can always go find somebody cheaper, and cheaper doesn't always mean it's going to be better. And we all know that in this industry, you can find an event planner that will do it for less than nothing, but they don't have the experience that, a season planner does, or a season photographer, or, a resort that has something that, that person has a lot of experience behind them. So at some point you have to say, unfortunately, I can't help you. It's, it's almost like firing a client, basically.
Well, and I think that's an important part. Here we are, the idea that we're looking forward. Part of looking forward is going back to our pre-COVID prices,
right?
Or even our, because I know a lot of people are actually increasing their prices. I think they rolled it back to like 2019 prices, and now they're moving them back to where they're supposed to be for 2021. And I think that's part of the looking forward, is that, we've worked as a community to try to make sure that as many people that wanted to get married were able to get married. And we bent, we rolled, we moved, we dodged, we did everything we can to help our wedding industry. But at some point, we have to start sticking back to our guns.
Shake the dice and hold the rice, baby.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. I have no idea what that means, but okay. All right. What? Shake what? Oh my God. Oh, well, guys, you were awesome. I can't thank you both enough. So Tara Horner with the Boca Lago Country Club, obviously Robin Ernst with the Sand and Sea Studios, fabulous photographer. Obviously, we'll have their links up with the podcast that'll be released on iHeartRadio about an hour after the show. I hope one of you or two of you stay around for After the Veil, because I think it's going to be a really lively conversation. But if you can't,
I'll stick around. I'll stick around.
Oh, perfect.
I'm curious.
I can't stick around.
That's what I come to life.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, God. All right. Well,
I'll stay.
So, Tara, thank you so much for being
You're
part
welcome.
of Behind
Thank
the
you
Veil.
for having me.
And now
Thank
a
you.
quick word from our sponsor, Zola.
I, Ava, wonder if our guests would be here on time.
If we had a custom wedding website.
With our ceremony details on it.
And I, Taylor, would pick Zola to have and to host our wedding website. Ours even matched our Zola invites. The whole thing was so freaking easy.
Do you think Zola could have made planning your perfect wedding easier?
We do. I do.
We've helped 1 million couples plan their weddings with free websites, registry, and invitations. Get started for free at Zola.com.
All right, we are back with After the Veil, and
look at all my brave souls.
I know. Look at all the brave people that said, well, because I had that. Obviously, after
I know you had me curious with that question. You were like, I have a question for after.
Well, because I was about firing a client. I was like, have you ever had to fire a client? And I have once. It was.
Tell us your story. Let's hear
you
yours.
go first.
Yeah.
This is
You
pretty
asked
much
us all the questions. We want to hear yours.
Oh my goodness, that's true. So it was the mom. Actually, there's a reason that I ended up firing the bride, because the mom would belittle the bride. Every single time we would get on a phone call, she would say, well, she has a diamond taste with a beer budget. She always spends too much.
Constant.
I mean, literally every single time. And then she's like, well, why can't you get that for less? And I'd be like, well, because that's the price point, and they're already giving you my 20% discount. Hello.
Yeah, when you hire Keith Wood events, you're already getting the best deals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I pass on whatever discounts I get to my clients. I don't take kickbacks from people. I just don't. It's not my thing.
Right.
So yeah. So I finally got to a point, and I actually had to have a conversation with the mom. I'm like, look, I know what your budget is. These are the prices that we have to deal with. Your daughter's doing everything she can in order to stay in her budget, but you got to stop making her feel bad about her wedding. You just have to. And she's like, I don't think this is going to work. And I said, you know what? I agree with you. For the first time in the last 3 months, I agree with you. And I said, so here's your deposit back. And she's like, well, she's like,
not worth it. Take your money.
I know. And she was shocked that I handed her
actually
the
a
deposit
sad
back.
story. I thought it was going to be greasy, but I actually feel bad.
No. I mean, well, because you have to at some point. But yeah, I handed her the deposit back. I said, okay, great. Thank you. Bye-bye. And I still get phone calls because they had to move their wedding and they didn't have me to help them. And I know that they had some serious issues. And I'm like, okay, just saying, if you had me on your side, you would have had a much easier time. All you had to do was speak a little nicer to your daughter.
I mean, we're super laid back and chill. I mean, there's 1,000 wedding planners out there. I mean, you have all the awards to prove how great we are. You know what I'm
but
saying?
That's the thing is that we're so easy. That's what I'm saying. It's like we're so easy. But
Robin finally got to work with us.
I know, but
but that was a pass-through thing that we did. That was a last-minute gig. That was not something that was a start-to-finish thing for us. So,
but still,
it went seamlessly though.
It did went seamlessly.
It did.
It went pretty seamlessly. Yeah, but we had to do a lot of.
There was two girls texting, but I was like, "Hey, Keith."
Us?
That was just so you know. That was me, by the way.
What are you talking about? Oh, she's.
It was. I'm like, I'm gonna tell her I'll fess up because if not, I'm like, let me tell her now before. And I'm like,
I know she was like, oh, is she gonna hold it against me? Is she gonna hold? I said no. I said she probably even.
I'm like, is the contract signed yet?
Oh my god, you're so stupid.
I don't even care. That doesn't bother me. It's gonna take a lot more than that to bother me, Brooke.
I know.
I'll try.
I'll try harder. Gotta have some thicker
skin. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
I was super excited when he told me that we actually. I was like, "Are you serious? That's amazing."
That's amazing.
Like,
yeah.
And then I remembered that. I'm like, oh wait.
And I said, relax, girl. She doesn't remember.
No, I don't care.
Have you had to fire somebody?
I haven't had to fire somebody, but I will admit that I definitely screen my client, like my inquiries. If someone inquires and in the box they write something and I can tell that we're not gonna really get along well, or like it's a little too difficult of a client, or they're saying things like just a little, I don't know. I'll kind of, oh, sorry, I'm not available on that date. But I'm very polite. I always respond. But no, I don't fire clients. But I will say I've learned to pick my clients, because just as clients pick us, I think it's important that it's a good match on both ends, or else it's just not going to work. And you could easily say yes to everyone and just take their money, but you're going to be miserable. Like, I'm here to enjoy my job and enjoy it and make connections with my clients, not just take their money. So, I mean, all the brides that I have, we're all friends. We always just end up being friends after, and that's how we are. So I just sometimes
so do we
choose to avoid the conflict.
Yeah,
weddings are like the best thing. If you have a job at any part of the wedding, no matter what the part is that you play, and you don't want to go to work that day, there's a problem. Because weddings are amazing.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? What happens on that day, the love and all the fabulousness that you see. Sometimes you see little jaws in the water. You know what I'm talking about. But for the most part, like, if you don't want to go to your job that day and that's what you do, baby, you got the wrong client.
There's a problem.
Well, and here's my favorite red flag. So I was on another podcast called Confetti Hour with Renee Sabo, and she is awesome. She's an event planner up out of Boston, and she's actually going to be on next week's Behind the Veil, because we're going to be talking about Clubhouse, the new app Clubhouse. Anyway, so I was on her show and we were talking about red flags, and I said my favorite red flag when I know there's going to be an issue is when somebody says, well, we're trying to save for a house. Like, the moment they say, well, we're trying to save a house. And I'm like, that doesn't diminish my.
That probably means one of two
expertise,
things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Qualifications, etc.
And
We
have
made a
that day open.
decision. Either we're getting married or we're buying a house, one or the other.
Right.
Not both. I mean, as much as I would love to be moving into a house together after we get married, we said house or marriage, and Greg chose on his own marriage. I was surprised, but marriage. And then boat, and then house.
Boat and house. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
no, there used to be an accounting person that I love from Hyatt Pier 66, and she used to say, "Your financial issues cannot become my financial issues." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's totally
a bit of a read there. A bit of a read,
right."
yeah.
And it's like, and it's not like I'm diminishing the need for them to stay in their budget. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do everything I can to help them in their budget, and especially now that we're coming out of COVID, we're all hurting. It's time to put the line in the sand, so to speak, and we're going to do that.
I'm sure Robin's been loving this line in the sand this whole show.
I know, but when you're talking about when you're talking about to a planner, and it's like, well, can you do anything about your price, because we're really trying to save for a house, and
and you're like, and what about my house that I have to pay the mortgage on this month?
And
For the person that they used in a prior event.
Yeah.
Is no longer in business, so now they're coming to you and they want you to lower your price to match the price that they got from the person who's no longer in business.
Oh, that's happened a couple of times.
Yeah, that's not your contract, honey.
Which has happened to me.
Monkeys, so.
Oh, did that really?
Well,
yes.
Marcy, somebody. Oh, because they were like, "Oh, we got these."
Well, a lot of times
yes, they went to somebody else.
They're not in business anymore.
That's exactly what I said. I said, well, apparently the reason they're not in business anymore is because they couldn't make a profit on giving everybody discounts like they were giving.
Right.
Well, I can tell everybody out there that I am not getting rich from this job.
And that's the one thing. When I started working for him, I asked him this one question. He's like, "No, this is how we roll." I said, "I'm yours forever."
Yeah.
Integrity goes everywhere with me. Everywhere.
100%. I am not. I'm not getting rich from doing this. One day, maybe, hopefully, when
You're
I
rich in love and
multiple event planners all under me that are working all 365 days of the year. Great, but I'm not going to charge anybody a ridiculous amount of money that I feel like, oh, they couldn't buy a house because of me.
Well,
I just. Yeah.
Anybody that's shopping for Keith Willard knows the ballpark. They see the work. They see you know what I'm saying? So they should have a pretty good idea when they're contacting you.
I'm just saying, if I was a prostitute, I'd be picking me up.
I mean, I'm just saying the truth. I'm not,
If I would sell me on a corner, I'd do me.
Well, you're also a shoplifter because you did steal me from one of your. Well, I don't know if you want to call it friend, but you did steal me from somebody.
I totally stole from another vendor.
Wow.
Oh yeah, she was working for a caterer that was at one of my events, and I'm like, hey, you work really hard.
Who's that?
And nobody else here does. Okay. I'm going to take your one good employee.
Hey, my boyfriend was making those snow cones, so there was 1.5 good people.
Oh, there you go. I forgot. That was a weird thing.
1.5.
Yeah, but your boyfriend's only half of that person?
What needs to happen, though, I'm going to say that's because I know we're getting to that hour mark. And we're going to do this. I'm going to pay something before someone steals it. So you know how you get the photo booth at the reception?
Yeah.
There needs to be a personal mask making person next to there while COVID's going through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Honestly. No, because if you like I always say, if you got some bullshit, put it in drag, honey. At least make it pretty. And so take COVID and put it in drag.
It does.
Why not?
See, Robin, this is why we started after the event.
I love it. It's a great idea. You can start at my wedding.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is because some of the best.
I'm not. After I won't get off this, I'll call Keith. That might be possible, depending on
little puka shells on the strands and little,
you can, how you put on your photo booth. The reason I said photo booth is because you got the glasses, the bows, all that weird different things people like to try. Do it with the mask. Like the nice thing that we just did with Marcy.
Where we did the mask.
Where we did, yeah.
Yeah.
They should, while COVID's happening, I'm sorry, but every single reception should have that. Why not?
Well, and by the way,
It takes anybody that's nervous or feels uncomfortable or feels unattractive about it. Like, you know what I mean?
The boas and hats are not happening right now. So I love the fact that you say that, but there aren't
masks. Oh, masks.
No, I'm just saying. You said next to a photo booth with all the feather bows and stuff. They're not doing that.
No, I was using that as an example of people go in there and they kind of dress it up, personalize their picture for the bride and groom or themselves. That I was saying it like do the mask, personalized mask too. Well, that was the gig, honey.
If we're being fully serious though, you are so precise that it would take you 3 days to make one mask because she is.
That's not true. I just don't sew. I would have to have an assistant. No, I wouldn't. I don't do well with the sewing.
I would have to have an assistant.
I'll design it. You sew it. Yeah.
You're so funny.
It was just a good idea.
Well, because
that's what I do.
Because she did
three. That was one of them.
Stuff, and she was like very.
It's a genius idea, Brooke. I'm all for it.
Thank you.
And face shields.
Thought we were friends up there.
With the idea
Can we make
face shields?
Yeah, mask but boho for my wedding.
Yeah, whatever you need. Yes, whatever you need.
Oh my goodness! So, Robin, being a bride, what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, let's talk about you for a hot second.
Yeah, what's like the thing that you're like? Oh, I'm so excited! I can't wait till this. Is it like getting blackout drunk? Is it?
Wait,
I don't know. No, I don't know how to answer this. I'm just excited for all of it. I'm excited for our whole wedding day. Everything is finally coming together, and I'm just very, very excited. I have a couple surprises up my sleeve that I'm excited about, and I just got a second wedding dress on accident, so that I'm excited about. But I think it's going to be really cool. It is. It's the whole vision as a whole. I'm excited for the photos we're going to get. Let's put it that way.
I was going to say, who's your photographer?
He's amazing. My photographer is Mason Lang out of Miami. He's amazing. He's been published a few times. Actually, it's funny. I chose him because he resembled a lot my mentor on Maui, but I would have had him fly over here, but then it's like you're paying for travel and a whole nother thing, and he's like so crazy expensive.
No, he's more than what the dress
Mason
costs.
was still expensive, but he's here, and Mason is like quality. And I told Greg, I'm like, listen, this is the one thing, like I have to go big on this. Like I'm not gonna regret my photos. I want professional, good photos, and he was that from start to finish. He's amazing, Mason Lang.
I guarantee you, we have a friend of ours that is a photographer and had another photographer, and they did it as a favor, and she hated them. Hated them.
Oh no!
I want to know what made you hire Keith and I. What was that thing that we did or that you saw?
The actual selling point. You want me to tell you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure.
When I was taking photos, Keith already knows this because I've said it like twice already. But when I was taking photos, Keith was just right there. Even when we walked down to the pier and like to the water to do the bride and groom photos, he was just fixing her dress. He'd be like, "Hold on 1 second, let me fix her dress, smooth out the crinkles in her dress, and like make sure it's all like it's flowing right." And I'm like, he is detail oriented with the photographer. He's working with the photographer. He's the one I want. Like that was just very like I've never worked alongside a planner that was so involved in that.
Meanwhile, I'm like, can we go to the library and get me on that camel? Do you remember that? I never did get that.
Oh my god!
I'm glad I didn't.
But too bad. That would have been great. But yeah, I think it
didn't want to lose my job.
All D work. Keith, are you there? He looks frozen.
I think he's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
But he has a great smile.
So
great smile.
I think we're actually celebrating our anniversary this week.
Well, happy anniversary.
One thing I will say is that, coming from one person in the industry to another person in the industry, I think that you kind of have that feeling already to know that you're going to be chill and just be in the moment and enjoy it. And, it's such an amazing celebration. with your, with your close loved ones.
Yeah, I'm just that honestly, that is what it is. I'm just so excited. Like I feel really lucky that I have the connections I do. Like my mom owns a big orchid nursery, Blooming Freedom in Palm City. So she has, a florist that's really like doing it up for us. I have a friend that owns a rental company. She's doing all of our rentals. Like I just know everyone's gonna come together as like a big team and family and just make it like my dream wedding that I probably otherwise wouldn't be able to have. And honestly, that's probably what I'm most excited about.
This will be a day you will never forget.
I never get the good stuff. Like literally it froze right when the really nice things. I was like, I never can have anything nice.
Well, you had a nice smile when you froze. I will say that.
Yeah,
you tell everybody.
Really nice face.
I was like, but it's fine. Smile's beautiful.
Oh my God.
The funniest thing I can remember from ours is that my mother was like literally freaking out. And I turned to her and I said, Mom, I said, this isn't your wedding. This is my wedding. I said, it's not, you don't need to freak out. You just need to relax and chill. I was so calm that day. And I remember everybody was going in and they were like, you don't look very, I don't look nervous because I know what, I knew that was like what I wanted. You knew you want to be the person you want to be with. I think you're going to be the same way, Robin.
For sure. We started dating in high school. He's the only person in my whole life I've ever loved, even 3 years apart. I mean, this is like, I have no doubt in my mind that he's my person. I am not nervous whatsoever. I feel like I'm going to be so chill like that.
You're excited and ready to
all day. Yeah. Yes, I'm just going to be excited. Like I'm truly just excited. I'm not nervous. I don't imagine I'll be nervous. And having Keith and Brooke there is going to be so helpful because that was really my only concern was like, who's going to be bossing people around? And I know you guys are going to.
You got the dream team, baby.
The two of you.
Oh yeah.
The two of you are like such a great team. So I know that it'll be handled. And like I saw the way you guys were with, the couple that at our other wedding a couple weeks back, and
John,
honestly, that's what sold me on you guys. You guys just, I could tell you put them first. You were just always right there. They didn't have to worry about a thing. And I was like, that's what I want. And that's why I said I need to reach out.
Oh my God.
I'm so glad.
Well, guys, that's our hour. And I just want to say thank you so much. It was so much fun.
Thanks for having us.
Robin, you were a doll. Honestly, you were a doll. And next week, we're going to be with Renee Sabo, where we're going to be talking about the new app Clubhouse, that it is all the rage and super on trend. So join us next Tuesday.
I'll be tuning into that because I want to hear more about it. I don't know much about Clubhouse, so I'm a little behind on that.
Me too, but I have the text with it. So yeah.
Send me that invite though, Keith. Yeah, Keith.
I'm just saying.
Send me that.
I'm sending you the invite. All right, everybody. Everybody have a great day. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Thank you. That was quite the goodbye.